This is what time-traveling detective Amelia Watson thinks of love. It's the grand gestures, the big things, explosive moments that shatter at the touch and then breathe fire on everything in the vicinity. Things that fill her blood with adrenaline and make her heart beat like wild against her eardrums. It's a consuming feeling, an intense feeling, born of hard work and struggle. She thinks of love and remembers the priestess, whom she had rewound time for again and again in a quest to save her. She remembers a temple built of stone cold to the touch, and the embrace of a woman that made Amelia Watson's very bones feel like they're burning. That's love. Difficult, painful, but all the same so beautiful and so rewarding. But now in the present, Amelia Watson stands in the kitchen of the house she shares with Mae Inanis. It's weird, she thinks, how things ended up playing out. First, the detective was never sure what was to come after the end of all their struggling. But it's them, now, here with the priestess humming to herself as she brews a pot of tea. The tea is Amelia's favorite. It's always Amelia's favorite. The detective takes in the world around her. On the windowsill, many little plants that Ina had taken to cultivating. Along walls, photos of the pair taken over the years. On shelves, little knickknacks from small adventures. In the corner of every room is a diffuser. Ina had proudly bought one for each room. Now the entire house smells like lavender. And as the detective recalls, lavender is meant to soothe the nerves. The detective also recalls that the diffusers and the lavender scent they carry came into their lives when Ina had noticed that Ame spends way too many nights burning through the midnight oil to complete cases. It's always like this with Mae Inanis. Hers is a love whispered in the dead of the night, felt in casual touches as they pass one another in hallways, known in soft glances as she observes the detective at work. These are just small things. Ina had said once, when Ame had worried that she doesn't do enough for Ina, "You can let me care for you." It made knots twist at the base of the detective's stomach. This isn't what she thought love was. There are no more grand cases to solve, no eldritch entities to tame. It's just them and their little home. Small gestures that string along moments in time that fill Amelia with both intense love and intense dread. She worries, as she always does, if one day the well of Ina's love will dry up because the detective no longer embarks on these wild cases full of adrenaline and explosiveness for the priestess. She worries, as she always does, if it's okay to accept the soft touch of Ina's love. Ina continues to brew tea. She pulls out a jar of honey and shows it proudly to Ame. "My cultist found some wild bees, and we can have honey with our tea. I know you liked it when we used honey instead of sugar." Love in the smallest of actions. Nothing like what Amelia Watson believed it to be. There are questions swirling in the pit of the detective's stomach. The house smells of honey, tea, and lavender. They burn through her senses and the knots in her stomach furl and unfurl. "Is it hard to love?" Ame asks, and she stops herself before she can add, "me," the word dying at the back of her throat. Ina seems to consider the question. Her expression is hard to read as she looks at the detective. A slight furrow of the brow, the barest blush on her cheeks, lips pressed into a fine line. It takes her a moment, but she decides to set the teapot down. She walks up to Ame, who continues to lean against the countertop. Ina's arms flank the detective, and suddenly the proximity makes Ame's heart feel like 1,000 times too large for a ribcage. "Why are you asking?" goes Ina. Ame isn't sure she's going to elaborate. She searches for words and ultimately says, "I think love is difficult. Am I wrong?" Goes Ina. "Let me rephrase that. For who are you asking? Me? Or you?" Ame looks away. "For you then," says Ina with a light chuckle. From the corner of her eye, Amelia can see the small, patient smile gracing Ina's lips. The same way she looks when she gently caresses the growing plants by their windowsill. The same way she looks when she brushes away Ame's bangs and tucks stray locks of hair behind her ear. Without saying any more, Ina leans in close, and closer still. Stops just short of pressing lips against the bare skin of the detective's neck. With half-lidded eyes, she looks up at Amelia. Wordlessly, she asks, "Consent?" Ame nods, nervous as Ina presses her lips against the pulse point at the base of Ame's neck. This isn't new, but there's an unspoken gravity to the gesture. Weight in the way warm lips touch skin. A sensation that makes the detective's face warm up. That makes her toes curl. That makes her want to ask for more, and then more. There, the answer. Love. Ina reaches down, tugs on one of Ame's hands, and pulls it close to her lips. The priestess kisses each knuckle tenderly. She softly runs her fingers along the calluses on the detective's fingers, the result of Amelia's many investigations and years of toil. Ina interlaces their fingers. There, the answer. Labor. Next, she guides Ame's hands, pulls it towards Ina's own pulse point. Ina takes 2 fingers and presses it there at the base of her neck. Under warm skin, Ame feels the thundering of a heart on fire. There, the answer. Frightening. Ina steps even closer to Ame. Closes the distance between their bodies. The priestess presses her forehead against the detective's. Ina's grayish blue eyes stare into Ame's sky blue ones. And Ina's eyes burn a fire eternal. There, the answer. Determined. And there, at last, a kiss. Lips against lips. Light, but full of the sweetness the world has to offer. The back of Ame's mind, she thinks of honey, tea, and lavender. The softest of gestures. There, the answer. Passionate. Ina smiles kindly, gently, patiently. Ame feels like her knees are about to buckle beneath her. And there, the final answer. Free. Ina speaks at last, her voice barely a whisper, but how they echo within the detective. You make it so easy.